Hello, it's Dominic Fonte with Cutler Real Estate. Thanks for tuning in today. I want to talk about three popular subjects I'm hearing an awful lot about right now. One is affordability, pending home sales, and interest rates. Like what's really going on with this marketplace? Heading into the end of summer 2021 into the early fall, how do I position myself as a prospective buyer, seller, investor, or just trying to figure out how to help my kids? So let's get started with this. I appreciate you tuning in. And we're going to start with segment one, which is pending sales. Okay, so the pending sale graph that we want to talk about today, take a look at this. We have basically 2012 pending home sales, the historic level, which is healthy. See the dotted line? There's a lot of blue above that. So when you take a look from 2012 January on the left all the way up to 2021, you're going to see the ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and a big drop off January 2020, which was when COVID was affecting the real estate market, when no one really knew what was going on. Then, once we got a little bit of a handle of it, there was a huge spike in inventory, which picked up a little bit later in the year. And now you see a red arrow pointing down, so you see a sharp drop in pending sales, which then creates headlines across the country, and it scares people. So the facts are this: the historic healthy level, even with the drop in pending sales, you can see we're well above the historic healthy level. So we're still pretty solid there. Well, the next slide talks about the showing time monthly index. So this is showing you an example of showings across the country from January 2020 all the way through July 2021. Now, as a result of less pending sales, you would have less showing activity, right? So when you look at January 2019, there was 123 showings, let's say. So if you follow that dotted line across, before COVID, that was about the norm in July. Well, then we had COVID, and you can see the lines are quite a bit above the average there. Look at January 2020, we had 235 and then 240, 283, 280. Now it's dropping down all the way to July of 2021 to 189. But when you think about it, even though there's a dip in pending sales, a dip in showing activity, you still see we're still above the historic average of showings before even COVID. Now the next slide is, okay, we hear a lot about multiple offers. So what is the percentage of homes selling over list price? And when you look at this graph, you could see 2020, 2021, and June of 21 and July of 21. So take a look at that. So there's a slight dip because we see a little downturn with the pending sales and the activity on showings, which is still pretty impressive when you think about it. So look at July 2020, right? We had 26.8% of the homes selling over the asking price. Now that was, of course, COVID season, right? Then a year later, when you take a look at it, we have 50.4% of homes selling. That's 1 out of 2 selling over the asking price. Now it varies how much over, depending on location, condition, and price. And then the dip in the market, you can see just a slight dip, July of 2021, which ties in with some of the slightly downturn in pending sales and activity. But you can see it's still pretty impressive. So that's helping me to understand logically and factually that we're not necessarily, the sky's falling at this point. So now the next graph, when you look at the new monthly listing count from 2017 all the way up to 2021. So take a look at this graph. So January through December, you're going to see different graphs. And look at 17, 18, and 19, which is before COVID happened. So that would be more of a normalized market. And if you look at the graph from left to right, you could see as you're going into the winter months, into April, May, and June, which is the peak usually buying and selling cycle, you can see 2017, 18, and 19. Those three graphs are right in sync, and then they start dropping off as you go through the rest of the year. So that's pretty much standard seasonality. Then you had 2020, which is the bold orange. Take a look at that one. So as we were heading up the market, January, February, March, they locked everything down in March 2020, which is COVID. Then you saw a huge drop, okay? Because normally April, May, and June is the Black Friday of shopping for real estate. It totally was shut down. Then it started coming back in June, July, and August, and then started dropping off again. So you can see it's actually quite a bit below the prior years prior to COVID. Now let's look at 2021 and see how that's looking. So when you look at 2021 compared to 17, 18, 19, and then COVID year, which is in orange, the green one shows you where we are today. So in January, you could see we were quite a bit lower in active homes on the market. And then as the more listings came into the marketplace, you can see we're still well below where we were in a more normalized market. So that means it's still favoring the sellers. So it's a little harder for the buyers. They're still paying more right now, but the market's still on fire, even though there's a little dip in the market. So that's telling me that we're not going towards any foreclosures anytime soon. Now, let's just say that graph keeps going up, okay, throughout the year. We could have a very strong fall activity in the marketplace. So these dynamics could change. We'll just keep an eye on it. I'll keep you informed every step of the way. In closing, I wanted you to know that it's so important to be an informed decision maker because, perception is not the reality. Even though we hear all these things on the news, I want to keep you informed on our local marketplace. So remember, wherever you are, wherever you buy, wherever you sell, wherever you live, that's what matters, is that particular location, okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call at 330-418-1535, or you can send me an email if you'd like at Dominic@DominicFonte.com, or if you'd like to see my more than 325 star reviews, go to DominicFonte.com.